The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Jesus did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the images of Jesus that are on prison walls and churches throughout the world are not historically correct, because history teaches us that Jesus was born in a region where the people had color. There's proof in the very Bible that you ask us to read in Revelation, first chapter, verse 14 and 15, that Jesus had hair like wool and feet the color of brass.
Just what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm proving to you that Jesus was not, and I might quote one of our Indian brothers, he was not a pale face.
Put that white man up on the screen. Put the Jesus that they say is Jesus. There he is. That's the symbol of white supremacy in the role of divinity. Did you hear what I said? That's why you can't shake your love for the white man because of your love of a false Jesus. Jesus was not a white man. I want you to put up the real Jesus. Put him up on the screen. Allahu Akbar!
This is Sheikh Mohammed al-Yaqubi, the 34th grandson of Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam. This guy's so white, he tried to buy Go-Gurts at Whole Foods. And this is exactly what we would expect based on descriptions of Muhammad in Islam's most trusted sources. Sahih al-Bukhari, number 63. Narrated Anas bin Malik. While we were sitting with the Prophet in the mosque, a man came riding on a camel. He made his camel kneel down in the mosque, tied its foreleg, and then said, "Who amongst you is Muhammad?" At that time, the Prophet was sitting amongst us, leaning on his arm. We replied, "This white man." Sahih Muslim, number 6081. It was narrated that Abu Juhayfa said, "I saw the Messenger of Allah with a white complexion." Sahih Muslim, 6071. It was narrated from Al-Jurayri from Abu At-Tufail. I said to him, "Did you see the Messenger of Allah?" He said, "Yes, he was white." The Muslim sources go on and on about Muhammad's epic whiteness, telling us about the whiteness of his shins, and the whiteness of his thigh, and the whiteness of his leg, and the whiteness of his stomach, and the whiteness of his forearms, and the whiteness of his armpits, and the whiteness of his cheeks. Muhammad was a white man's name. He was the whitest prophet in history. Now, how many Muhammads would it take to screw in a light bulb? None. He would just tell one of his more than 36 slaves to do it. Let's read about some of these slaves. Sahih al-Bukhari, number 7263. Narrated Umar, I went to the house of the Prophet, and behold, Allah's messenger was staying in a mashraba, and a black slave of Allah's messenger was at the top of its stairs. Sahih al-Bukhari, 6161. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's messenger was on a journey, and he had a black slave. Sunan an-Nasai, number 4625. It was narrated that Jabir said, a slave came and gave his pledge to the Messenger of Allah to emigrate, and the Prophet did not realize that he was a slave. Then his master came looking for him. The Prophet said, "Sell him to me." So he bought him for 2 black slaves. Then he did not accept the pledge of anyone after that until he had asked, "Is he a slave?" So an Arab man walked up to Muhammad and said, "I'd like to join you. Do you accept my pledge?" Muhammad replied, "Yes." But the man turned out to be a slave. So Muhammad had to buy the slave from his master. And what did he buy him with? He bought him with 2 of his numerous black slaves.